São Paulo is defeated by Juventude 3-1 and is knocked out of the Copa do Brasil. The team was eliminated in the second leg of the fifth round of the competition, and they bow out of a competition extremely early that was being taken very seriously, especially because of the financial aspect. Since it is the biggest prize money payout among the domestic competitions, the tricolor side bows out and returns to the capital of São Paulo with a negative feeling. I'll give you an analysis. São Paulo entered the field at full strength, aware of the match's significance. A lineup much like the one used against Corinthians in the weekend derby, where they also lost. It's already been 5 games without a win, a match that took place in Caxias do Sul. Alfredo Jacone, a stadium very familiar to Roger Machado, who had 2 stints at Juventude in 2014 and in 2024. And São Paulo, who struggled from the beginning, from the first minute until the end. So it was a tricolor team that was under a lot of pressure from Juventude since the first half, leaving a lot of space, especially on the wings. Roger Machado sent out Cedric Suarez and Enzo Diaz, who didn't have such a good match. So many of Juventude's most dangerous plays were coming from the sides, and the midfield also wasn't working very well, leaving a lot of space. And then Juventude kept taking shot after shot with Rafael handling it up until then. But things started to heat up. There, near Cedric, Luciano started to feel discomfort in his thigh. He even tried to stay on the field for a bit, but he couldn't handle it. Because of the pain, he had to leave, and from what it looks like, it's a muscle injury in the back of his thigh. He has no injury history, but is among the São Paulo squad's top players for minutes played. He has been a regular in Roger Machado's system, and he's the top scorer and standout player of the team this season. So Salke is definitely going to be greatly missed by this São Paulo team. The one who comes in to replace him is Ferreirinha, right, who is already kind of his immediate substitute. Ferreirinha, with just 33 seconds on the field, makes a mistake there. He ends up getting into a challenge with Rodrigo San, right, Juventude's defender. In this challenge, he ends up hitting the defender's face with his arm. The referee deems it violent conduct, and the player is sent off. He had only been on the field for 33 seconds. São Paulo, with one player down, both teams go into halftime with no goals. However, it messes up all of Roger Machado's strategy and game plan, so he comes back from halftime trying to defend the team a bit more, trying to give the team a more defensive system and approach. He brings on Osorio, who is a player developed in Cotia. He's just starting to get some minutes with the first team now, so he's not a very experienced player. The system doesn't work. Juventude is able to take great advantage of São Paulo's mistakes. In this game, right, as I said, especially down the wings, that's where Gabriel Pinheiro's goal comes from, which ties the aggregate. And there's also a goal from Marcos Paulo. São Paulo tries to react, tries to protect itself, but only somewhat. Around 20-something minutes into the second half, it seemed like they were starting to understand what they wanted to do. Roger Machado takes a risk, makes a move by putting Gonzalo Tapia on the field. Tapia, who hadn't scored since January, manages to score São Paulo's only goal in the match. Up until then, the aggregate score was tied, and São Paulo's bench was celebrating a lot, very tense, with Roger Machado under a lot of pressure, right? I'm not necessarily talking about whether he'll be fired or not. That's information we don't have at the moment. The information we had before this match, even confirmed here at Lance, is that regardless of the result, the board would back Roger. He would have their support. An audio leaked from Harry McKiz, the São Paulo president, saying he can't afford to fire Roger since he's already handling 3 termination penalties. It was an audio that came to light. It got a lot of visibility. It went viral. It made a lot of noise this week. So this qualification would bring a lot of relief. That would have eased the pressure on Roger Machado, but it didn't happen. And in stoppage time, Mandaka, who is a Juventude player coming back from injury, once again takes advantage of São Paulo's defensive gaps and manages to put his team even further ahead on the scoreboard. He secures Juventude's qualification and São Paulo's early exit from the Copa do Brasil. São Paulo hadn't lost at Alfredo Jaconi since 2019. In this case, they used to at least make it to the round of 16 in the competition. So there's a very tense atmosphere among the São Paulo squad. Caleri gave a very strong interview after the game saying that the squad made mistakes, that they do have to take the blame. And now we have to wait and see what the next steps will be, both from the management and how the fans will react, with Roger Machado as well, right? São Paulo has another away game this Sunday. They're going to face Fluminense in the Brasileirão at Maracanã. It's São Paulo's reunion with Zubeldia, and next week they'll be back to playing at home. This gives a better gauge of the mood at Morumbis as they prepare to face Boston River in the Copa Sudamericana. Remember that São Paulo is really focused on the cups. They were prioritizing the Brasileiro and especially the Copa do Brasil. But now, the plan should change a bit with this early elimination, especially considering the club's financial side. You can follow all updates about this controversial post-game here on Lance.
So did you like this video? So go ahead and like it, share it with your friends, and take the opportunity to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get updates on all the content published here on Lance.